I'm a 35-year-old man from a typical loud Italian family in New Jersey. You know, Sunday dinners are required. Everyone is in each other's business, and your nana will force-feed you even if you're about to blow up. Growing up, it was me, my older sister Sophia, a 38-year-old woman, and our parents, both 65, in a small three-bedroom house that always smelled like garlic and moss sauce. My sister stole my bank card, took $23,000, and blew it all. And then my parents defended her until one move turned the tide and destroyed their illusion. I was just the kid who was good with his hands and ended up in construction. Don't get me wrong, I make decent money running cruises now, enough to live comfortably and maybe take one vacation a year if I'm lucky. But Sophia made me the family's disappointment because she never missed an opportunity to remind me how I settled for a blue-collar life while she pursued her big dreams, which mostly involved marrying rich people and living the fancy life. Her parents essentially treated her as though she was God's gift to Italian Americans or something. She did, in fact, manage it for a while. At a fancy wine tasting event, she met this 42-year-old millionaire named Marco. She used to act more important than she actually was, and the whole family was thrilled that their precious princess was finally getting the life they believed she deserved. They had a huge wedding, for which Pop essentially spent all of his savings because, heaven forbid, Sophia didn't get everything she wanted. I remember standing there in my rented tux watching her marry this poor sucker and thinking, well, at least she'll be someone else's problem now. Boy, was I wrong. Fast forward 5 years, and everything went to hell. I had my suspicions, though, because there was this personal trainer at her gym who kept talking about constantly texting and making excuses to spend more time there. I didn't say anything because, well, Italian families are like that, but I'm pretty sure Marco caught her doing more than just Pilates. The divorce was ugly, like throwing plates in restaurants, but she did it. That made the local paper and everything. Marco had a good lawyer and an ironclad prenuptial agreement, so Sophia got very little except some monthly support for their 9-year-old daughter Isabella. That's when the real fun began. In a normal family, the parents would step in and help their daughter get back on her feet, but in this case, Ma and Pop decided it was time to enjoy their golden years. They had recently retired and were organizing all these trips till they essentially told Sophia that they couldn't help because they needed to find themselves or something like that. Remember the wedding savings? Well, that seems to have been their only contribution to her adult life. Guess who got volunteered? It's me, Antonio. My name isn't my real name, but it's close enough because I'm the one with a steady job and no responsibilities. They said that being single means I have nothing better to do than support my sister. At first, it was only meant to be temporary until I could find employment. Antonio only helped with groceries for a few months, and Isabella needed new school supplies. You know how it goes, and before I knew it, I was paying her $1,600 a month for a decent place to live because, God forbid, Sophia would live in a regular apartment with utilities, grocery bills, and extras for Isabella. The child needed a laptop for school, and Uncle Antonio arranged for it to take dance classes. Uncle Antonio would also pay for her birthday parties. I kept telling myself that it was for Isabella, who is smart, sweet, and nothing like her mother. Help family no matter what Ma instilled in us from the time we were young. And it's funny that it seemed to apply only to helping Sophia and not to me. This continued for 5 years, during which I watched my savings vanish, missed my own vacations because Sophia needed help with Isabella's summer camp, and watched Sophia look down on me while living off of my money. The worst part was that Sophia pretended that she was doing me a favor by allowing me to help, as if she were giving me a reason to be so involved. In them, she always spoke in a tone like she was discussing a kid's lemonade stand or something. But hey, I was brought up to believe that family helps family, so I gritted my teeth and kept writing those checks, telling myself it was only temporary. So, about a year ago, Sophia finally got a decent job. In fact, a decent HR position at a pharmaceutical company with benefits and a whole package that I believe was around $65,000 a year. It wasn't exactly rolling in cash, but it was far better than the sporadic consulting work she claimed to be doing before. Spoiler alert, she wasn't actually consulting anyone. It started out as little things, like Sophia showing up to Sunday dinner wearing these designer shoes, a fancy new phone, and a whole new wardrobe because apparently her old clothes weren't professional enough for her new job. Maybe she received a signing bonus or something, but it kept getting worse every week when she would arrive at her parents' house with some new clothes. I told her that I would continue to help for a few months while she settled into her new job, be a good brother, and make the transition smooth for Isabella's sake. I'm still paying her rent and utilities because she kept saying she needed a little more time to accumulate her savings. As an aside, our Sunday dinners are like a sacred ritual in our family, and miss one acts like you committed a crime against humanity itself. So every week I had to sit there and watch this circus of Sophia, showing off her new stuff, Ma and Pop beaming at their precious princess getting back on her feet, and me silently calculating how Aunt Maria, a 64-year-old woman, was the only one who seemed to notice something was wrong. She would give me these looks across the table as if she could tell I was about to lose it. Thank God for her, because she is the only sane person in our family besides me. Anyway, this continued for months until the Sunday that finally got to me, when we were all seated around the table and I, Sophia, Isabella, Ma, Pop, and Aunt Maria Ma made her famous lasagna, which Sophia always complains has too many calories. I was about to choke on my wine when Sophia said, "Oh, I'm thinking of getting this gorgeous Gucci bag. I saw it's only $500, and it would be perfect for client meetings." I tried to remain calm, but I really asked her in a casual way, "That's a lot for a purse when you're still getting help with bills, don't you think, man?" Sophia was boasting about some work-related things, and she was playing with her phone under the table. She called me cheap, saying that I hadn't bought new work boots in 2 years because my rent had eaten up my budget, that I hadn't gone on a real date in months because every spare dollar went to her emergencies, and that the worst part wasn't even her saying it, but rather the reaction of everyone else. "Don't be cheap, Antonio," she said, sounding like I'm some dumb kid. "A professional needs to look professional." Aunt Maria seemed ready to say something by now, but I beat her to it. I put down my fork slowly, took a sip of wine, and just let it all out without yelling. "I don't do that around Isabella." Cold hard truth. "Let's talk about cheap, Sophia. How I've been paying your rent for 5 years while you buy designer crap. How our parents won't help because they're too busy finding themselves in Italy. And how you look down on my menial job while living off of it." The room fell silent, and you could have heard a meatball drop before I dropped the "I've finished paying my rent, utilities, groceries, and other expenses. You've done a great job, and it's a great time to be an adult and pay your own bills." Sophia's face changed into 5 different states in 2 seconds. Shocked, angry, scared, and trying to figure out if I was serious. Amaria actually started clapping slowly and heading straight up to go. Antonio, right there at the table, looked like she was about to faint, and she wouldn't even look at me. I grabbed my jacket and left, but turned back for a final glance, and Sophia had that $500 purse. Perhaps I should have used that money for rent instead. When I left your bank, Aunt Maria followed me, gave me a big hug, and said she was proud of someone finally standing up to Sophia's bullshit. You would think that after letting me know that, Sophia would have bombarded my phone with angry texts or voicemails, which is her usual tactic. One time, I was 10 minutes late to pick up Isabella from dance class, and she sent me 47 messages, but instead, there was total radio silence for a whole week. What's strange is that the silence affected me more than her yelling did. I kept checking my phone, expecting to see missed calls or something. Even my WhatsApp family group. Yes, we have one of those where my usually sends random prayer chains and pictures of food. It was very quiet, but Aunt Maria sent me a private message saying that they would move on and that you did the right thing. I skipped the next Sunday dinner and texted Ma that I had to work, which wasn't entirely false, and I did take on an extra shift. I could almost feel her disappointment over the phone. She responded with this passive-aggressive "that's okay. Isabella asked about you, but work is more important than family." I know, the classic Italian mom guilt trip. Then, on Wednesday night, at 9:30, someone we need to talk about, Sophia Ma, who announces that she's going to open peace negotiations or something. I get a soda from the refrigerator and offer them some, but they both give me that look like I just canceled Christmas. Ma barges in without saying hello and begins pacing around my living room in her church clothes, which she probably wore straight from evening mass. I'm already in my sweats, half asleep on the couch, watching the game, and I find Ma and Pop standing there looking like I've personally canceled Christmas, suggested that we rob a bank and find her more for me. Finally, Antonio Pop speaks up and says, "I'm trying to keep my voice level, but you two who've been going on cruises and wine tours instead of helping your own daughter want to lecture me about making Isabella suffer." Ma's face does that thing where she looks like she's sucking a lemon. "It's not fair. We're retired, you're young, you have a good job, and Sophie is your sister." I shoot back, But I suppose that's the only thing that's going on. It matters when it's convenient. This starts a whole thing, and my mother starts talking about how I'm being heartless and how Isabella is an innocent child. Pop keeps saying that this isn't how they raised me, and the best part is that they hit me with this gem. We don't enable her the way you do, so she needs to learn responsibility. I lost it completely and began laughing in their faces. Oh, she needs to learn responsibility. Where was this attitude 5 years ago when I started paying her bills? Where was this when she was purchasing designer crap with my money? Real convenient timing. Ma.Pop tries to interrupt with some bullshit about how I'm being cold and that this isn't like me. I just walked to my door and held it open and thanked them for coming. But this is how things will be going forward. Sophia wants to act like an adult when it comes to paying bills, like the time they left muttering in Italian under their breath, which is always a sign that they're really angry. They didn't even try to force leftovers on me, which is equivalent to, I'm dead to her Aunt Maria. The following morning, it seemed that Sophia had been crying to everyone about possibly having to move to a dangerous neighborhood, which is any place without a Whole Foods nearby, because her cruel brother cut her off. Mom and Pop had been telling everyone at church how their once sweet son had abandoned the family. But here's the thing. Aunt Maria had heard from her friend at the salon that Sophia had been boasting about a lavish vacation, saying she was planning a spa weekend or something with the money, and that's what I wanted to know. Then, on Friday night, I received a call from Sophia, whose voice is as sweet as when she used to smugly buy her belongings when we were kids. Just wanted to let you know I'm moving out of the apartment next month, she says as if we were having a casual conversation. What? You can't afford it without me? I ask, probably sounding more arrogant than I should, and she laughs, sending shivers down my spine. Oh, I can afford it. I just found something better. It turns out she's moving in with Ma and Pop. They offered their guest room, so poor Isabella wouldn't have to live in some awful apartment. Sophia sounded so proud of herself that she seemed to have won a game. The following month, I received a call from my accountant, who instructed me to check my credit. My sister allegedly used my information to open new bank accounts, so I immediately logged into my Experian account. My hands were shaking so much that I had to type my password 3 times. What I saw almost made me throw up. Over the last 6 months, 4 new credit cards were opened in my name, all of them maxed out, and we're talking about thousands of dollars in charges to stores I'd never even heard of, like Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom, some upscale boutiques in the city, and even airline tickets to Miami. I suppose that explains her work trip last month. The total damage was $23,400. Let that sink in. I'm not proud of what happened next, but my sister's decision to play identity theft destroyed everything I had saved for a down payment on a house. I threw my phone across the room, thank God, for good cases, and punched a wall. Yes, that was a really smart move, but my hand still hurts. I then just sat on my kitchen floor, having what felt like a panic attack, and called Aunt Maria, because she's the only sensible person in the family. It's about 11 p.m. at this point, but she answers the phone, and when I tell her what Sophia did, she begins to swear in Italian. Nana would have washed our mouths out with soap for, you need to call the police. But here's the thing, Sophia has Isabella. If I press charges, what will happen to my niece? She's the only innocent person in this mess. I spent the entire night going through the charges for designer spa treatments and fancy restaurants. This woman was living the high life on my credit while I was eating ramen to save money. There were even charges for Isabella's private school tuition, which explains why Sophia abruptly stopped asking me for school expenses the following morning after only 2 hours of sleep. The fun part is that Sophia didn't even try to hide her tracks. Every single purchase was delivered to her address, and she used her own phone number and email on the accounts. The lawyer said it was one of the most obvious cases of identity theft he'd seen with this evidence. He says she's looking at serious charges, but there's always a but because she's family. Perhaps we try negotiating first. I paid $400 for the consultation with a lawyer who specializes in identity theft cases. The criminal route gives her one chance to make things right before I ruin her life more than she deserves. I think about Isabella and agree, so I call Sophia. My hands are shaking again, but this time from anger. Hey, Johnny. She answers cheerfully, like nothing's wrong. How's my favorite? I cut her off. I know about the credit card dead silence, so I can explain. Shut up. Just shut the hell up for once in your life. My voice is so cold that I hardly recognize it. You have exactly 1 week to repay every cent. If you don't, I'm pressing charges. Evidence. She tries the waterworks, but I tell her that Isabella is the only reason you're getting this chance 1 week. So I hang up and block her number right away. I then call my bank, freeze all of my accounts, and start the fraud process because this is essentially a full-time job. The banks want affidavits, the credit card companies want police reports, and everyone wants forms filled out in triplicate. Aunt Maria brings me lunch, which is homemade meatball sub-Italian comfort. She sits with me while I'm on hold with yet another fraud department. You know she's going to run to your parents, so I'm done protecting her. A week passes, and I'm obsessively checking my accounts every time my phone rings. Sophia tried calling from different numbers, but I blocked them all. She left me about 47 voicemails, but I didn't listen to them. After the great Christmas fight of 2019, I learned that lesson. Then, exactly 1 week later, I received this email from my credit card company stating that all the accounts have been paid in full. I sit there looking at my phone like I should have been relieved after reading the email 5 times and calling the company to confirm that everything had been paid off, but something didn't feel right. Sophia works as an HR representative at a pharmaceutical company, so there's no way she had that much money lying around unless Aunt Maria calls me that afternoon. You won't believe what your mother just told me. It turns out that Ma and Pop used all of their retirement savings to pay off Sophia's debt. They also lost the money they had been saving for their 40th anniversary cruise, and all of it was used to settle what Sophia had stolen from me. Whose fault is it, in their opinion? If you said mine, congratulations, you understand Italian family logic. The following morning, my phone rings, and it's Ma. I haven't heard her voice in weeks, so I answer like a fool. Are you happy? She screams, and I'm pretty sure my neighbors 3 doors down heard her. We had to give Sophia our retirement money and savings because you had to be dramatic about a few credit cards. I nearly choked on a few credit cards, and she committed identity theft. It's your sister's family, so you had to threaten her with lawyers and police as if she were a criminal. I helped her for 5 years, and how did she thank me? By stealing my identity? You didn't have to threaten her. Ma sniffs. We could have worked something out. What about another 5 years of me paying her bills while she shops at Saks? No thanks. You're not the son I raised, she says. The criminal stole my identity because she was desperate, and now we can't travel to Sicily. We're stuck here all winter because you couldn't handle this like family. The voice that used to destroy me as a child was a quiet, disappointed voice that said, I'm not the son you raised. I'm better. I'm the son who finally stopped letting his family treat him like a doormat. She hung up, and 10 minutes later, my phone began to explode with messages from random relatives. Apparently, Ma had been telling everyone how I made them spend their retirement money, how I abandoned my sister and niece, and how I threatened to put poor Sophia in jail. The messages were crazy. How could you do this to your parents? Your poor mother is crying. The monster threatens his own sister Isabella, who is traumatized because one of her parents was rich. Isabella was at school and was unaware of what was going on when Sophia began posting on Facebook about how families should support one another during difficult times. She included a nonsense quote about forgiveness, and all of our relatives laughed at it, telling her how strong she is. I had to take down my social media accounts. But the real kick in the teeth was when Sophia moved in with Ma and Pop that weekend. She naturally posted pictures of their family meals with captions about true families sticking together, even getting Isabella to pose for when Sophia pulls off her masterstroke. She calls me after school one day. Her voice is small. Are you mad at me? My heart just breaks. No, honey, never at you. Then, why won't you come to dinner anymore? Mom says it's because you're angry at us that I had to grip my counter to stay calm. Using her own kid as a weapon. That's low even for Sophia Isabella. Listen to me. These staged photos show her looking very sad and talking about how much she misses Uncle Antonio. Aunt Maria sends me screenshots because I've blocked everyone else, and she's playing them like a fiddle. I hear Sophia encouraging Isabella to tell me how sad she is and how much she misses me in the background. I've never wanted to reach through a phone and strangle someone so badly in my life. So after Sophia pulled that prank of forcing Isabella to call me, I was prepared to just wash my hands of the entire family except Aunt Maria, who is a saint. But then I get this text from Isabella's mother saying, you didn't do anything wrong. This is adult stuff between me and your mom. I love you, and that's never going to change. I get all the school announcements for this winter play, The Wizard of Oz, because I'm still on her emergency contact list. Isabella is playing Dorothy, and she had been practicing for months before all this drama began. I remember her practicing somewhere over the rainbow in my car when I used to drive her to dance class. The text contains a link to purchase tickets, and I stare at it for about an hour, debating whether Sophia would be there Ma and Pop too. Drama waiting to happen, but Isabella's Aunt Maria calls while I'm still considering it. That, play. Antonio Maria, you know Sophia is going to, and I don't care if the Pope himself is there. I'll go with you. So I buy 2 tickets. Don't tell anyone. And slip in the back to watch Isabella shine before Sophia can begin anything. On the day of the play, I arrive with Aunt Maria, who gives Isabella these little yellow roses, which are her favorite color and kind of go with the yellow brick road theme. We arrive early, find seats near the back, and Isabella is so amazing that it makes me cry. I was going to leave the flowers with the teacher to give to Isabella after the play, but then I hear, Uncle Antonio, and here comes Isabella running, full speed still in her Dorothy costume. She crashes into me with this huge hug. I hand her the roses, and she's beaming. You came. You really came. Her entire face lights up, and every moment of the drama is worth it just for that smile. After the play, all the parents and family are gathered in the gym for this small reception event. Even though Sophia is wearing a designer outfit that probably costs more than my rent each month, she has a smug expression on her face as if she has won something. Antonio, are you trying to buy her love? I ignore her and concentrate on Isabella. You were amazing up there, kiddo. I'm so proud of you. But Sophia isn't finished. She crosses her arms and raises her voice so other parents can hear you. It's funny how you can afford flowers, but still can't find the heart to continue helping your family members. I ask Sophia quietly, why don't you shoot back? Because she's already humiliated me in front of everyone. I start to leave, trying to be polite, but she says something that makes me stop. Isabella deserves better, an uncle who genuinely cares about her, not someone who uses her to make himself feel better. I turn back my voice, low but clear. You don't get to play that card, Sophia. Not after everything you've done, and I'm not going to stand here while you try to turn Isabella against me. Truth, Sophia laughs that her uncle left her and threatened to put her mother in jail. Truth about the credit cards, I yell back. Truth about how you stole my identity. Truth about why Marco actually left Sophia. Yes, I went there. Uncle Antonio, Isabella's voice is small. Truth about the credit cards. Sophia takes Isabella's arm as we leave. No, Isabella pulls away. This is the first time I've ever seen her confront her mother. I want to know what's going on. Everyone is fighting all the time, and nobody tells me why she starts crying. Not the fake tears Sophia coached. The gym is completely silent as everyone watches this Italian family drama unfold like a soap opera. Isabella's drama teacher tries to step in and suggests that perhaps this isn't the right place, but Sophia uses it as her exit, dragging Isabella away while playing the victim card. My heart breaks all over again. I kneel down to her level too. Listen, but Sophia yanks her away. Don't you dare talk to her. You lost that right when you turned your back on us. Aunt Maria finally explodes. You stole from him after everything he did for you. I stand there watching my family go, feeling like the biggest failure. Aunt Maria gives me a tight hug, saying that she needed to hear the truth. As we're leaving, I hear parents whispering that Sophia spent months painting me as the villain, but tonight they saw who she really was. It's a small victory, but at what cost? The day after the school play disaster, Isabella calls me, using her friend Lisa's phone because Sophia took hers away after the play. Isabella is crying, and not the fake crying her mother taught her to do, but real, heavy sobs that hurt my heart. It turns out that Sophia has been making everyone miserable at my parents' house, treating it like a hotel, leaving messes everywhere, and staying out late. The Golden Child act lasted for about 2 weeks before her true personality came out, but my parents are stuck because they spent all of their savings on her credit card debt, so they are unable to even travel to Sicily as they had planned. Can I come stay with you? Isabella asks, just for a little while. Mom and Nona are constantly fighting over money, and they are constantly talking about you. Man, my heart hurts. You know I can't do that, kiddo, but listen, you can always call me. I don't care what your mom says. Then she says something that blows my mind. I heard her talking to her friend about the credit cards she stole from you, and I swear she's too smart for her own good. Isabella, I say carefully because sometimes adults make really big mistakes, but you understand that, right? She's quiet for a minute. Mom says you abandoned us, but that's untrue. You helped us for a very long time. Years later, I tell her that I would have continued to help if your mom hadn't made those mistakes. That doesn't mean I don't love you, kiddo, but you're the best part of this crazy family. We talk for about an hour about school, her friends, and how strange it is to live with Nona and Nano. She's worried about her mom, but she's also angry, saying Sophia is too busy going out with friends and shopping to pay her any attention anymore. After we hang up, I call Aunt Maria and we devise a plan. Maria has always been the family mediator, even when we were children. The person who could talk sense into people. She began going to my parents' house more frequently, especially when Isabella was there. She taught her how to make proper sauce and took her to Sunday school, but she still buys the jar stuff, which is practically a crime in our family. Even though I can't be there in person, I make sure Isabella knows that I'm always there for her by sending her books through Amazon, having lengthy phone conversations with her when she can sneak calls, and even helping her with a science project via video chat. At first, Sophia tried to stop it, but the thing about Italian families is that you don't mess with the aunts. That went down quickly, and you want me to tell everyone at church what really happened with those credit cards. As for my parents, well, that's complicated. Last week, for the first time in months, my dad called to tell me that they're having trouble with Sophia living there. She's not looking for a job, not helping with bills, and basically treating their house like a free hotel. He asked for my advice, and I told him the same thing I've been saying for years. Sophia needs consequences or she'll never change. This time, he actually listened, and they're giving her 2 months to find a job in her own home, which makes her unhappy. However, even she is beginning to see the light, especially after Sophia maxed out her credit card. She hasn't learned, but Isabella is doing better. She has started to defend herself more and even reprimands Sophia when she acts dramatic. Last week, she made the honor roll, and I immediately received a picture of her certificate from Aunt Maria, who said that she reminds her of me at that age. She is kind but strong, saying things like, "I know the family's still split. Some relatives think I'm the devil for not helping other family," she said. Has a way of getting out, and I'm doing fine now. I even went on a date last week, and I've finally started saving for that house again. Sophia isn't the only one who can move on with life. Aunt Maria is attempting to pair me up with her friend's daughter because, apparently, this story needed more Italian family cliches. Isabella sent me a card last week that had a picture of us on the front, her dressed as Dorothy, and me giving her the yellow roses. She wrote, "Thank you for always believing in me. I'll always remember what you said. I'm strong." Yes, I cried. A little, but I'm not sure whether my family will ever be the same as it was before everything that has happened. But Isabella is growing up strong and intelligent, and that's what counts. She will end the cycle, and I'll be there to assist her in doing this correctly.